Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all our viewers to our live series on complementary and alternative medicine, where we will be talking about health and fitness, dietary and nutritional well-being, psychoneuroimmunology, like-minded communities for healing and support, and many such related topics. Today, we are in conversation with Dimple and Kishan from Love Heals Cancer and ZenOnco.io. Welcome to the show, Dimple and Kishan.
Thank you so much, Ridu, for the warm welcome. Happy to be here.
We are so happy to have the chance to speak with you. So to begin with, I am Ridu Gupta. I am CEO with CAPID, which is Cancer Awareness, Prevention and Early Detection Trust. If you have been following us on social media, you will know we work primarily in the area of cervical cancer. We are a grassroots NGO and have been in the field for a little over 6 years now. So far, we have stayed with mainstream information and awareness on cancer prevention and care. And in the last 6 years, we have reached out to over 19 million people to create awareness, and we have screened 13,000 women and counting. And we've realized that our responsibility is a wider world view of cancer care for our viewers. We should be able to give you a broader perspective on what is happening. So now we have taken it upon ourselves to hold discussions that include other tried and tested interventions and new alternatives in the healing space. Our first talk, if you all have been with us, was with Mr. Vijay Bhatt, and it covered stressors and strengths and healing the person as a whole. The interview is also available on YouTube and our Insta pages. Our second set of guests on this journey of information are Dimple and Kishan. Stay with me. I have a lot to talk to you about them. So Dimple is the co-founder and CEO of Love Heals Cancer and ZenOnco.io. Having lost her loved one to cancer, Dimple has dedicated her life to helping cancer patients. I'm going to start with her self-statement, which I think is really so beautiful. She lives her life to the fullest and motivates everyone around her to do the same. Above all, she believes in constantly trying to become a better human being, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many years you live. She believes what matters is how much you live in those years. For her revolutionary work, Dimple has been awarded Top 100 Healthcare Leader Award by the International Forum of Advancement in Healthcare and Top 101 Most Fabulous Healthcare Leaders by World Health and Wellness Congress. She has also been featured in popular media like Your Story, Mumbai Midday and Rajasthan Patrika, and has been a panelist and a speaker at multiple seminars. Dimple graduated from IIM Calcutta, and she has done a number of different areas of work before she started this. She has had an e-commerce startup. She has been project manager with Bank of New York Mellon. She has been with Reliance Industries. And then she has done multiple trainings like integrative oncology, mind-body medicine, healing circles, beyond conventional cancer therapies, end-of-life conversations, many such things. And we are so happy to have her online with us so that we can discuss the areas that are really important today and going forward from here. Welcome to the show, Dimple. And thank you. And I would also want to introduce Kishan. Kishan is the co-founder and CEO of Love Heals Cancer and ZenOnco.io. Having experienced pain and suffering of cancer patients firsthand, he followed his inner calling and decided to dedicate himself to serving cancer patients. So another end of his story is he left his childhood dream of being the most successful finance professional to enter the world of healthcare to create an impact on the lives of cancer patients. That must be a whole story on its own, I'm sure, Kishan. He has been instrumental in launching the world's first artificial intelligence-based tool to generate directional integrative oncology treatment reports free of cost for cancer patients, Zeopar. We would love to hear more about that. That sounds like a most interesting development. He has conducted multiple healing circles with cancer patients and their caregivers. He has also conducted workshops on open death conversations for patients of all ages. He is an excellent motivator and has inspired many cancer patients to fight stronger and live longer. He has also been awarded Top 101 Most Fabulous Healthcare Leaders by World Health and Wellness Congress. He has completed multiple trainings again in the field of healthcare, including integrative oncology, healing circles, etc. He previously worked at GIC, Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund. He's worked at JP Morgan, EY. He's also an MBA from IIM Calcutta, chartered accountant, chartered financial analyst, financial risk manager, and a chartered alternative investments analyst. This sounds so interesting. your history and how you all have moved from where you were to where you are now. It sounds really interesting. So what is it that led to Love Heals Cancer? How did Love Heals Cancer actually come about? Because this is really diverse. I mean, both of you being MBAs and, you know, and him, of course, wanting to be the best financial, your childhood dream that you've given up. How did Love Heals Cancer actually happen?
First of all, thank you so much, Mridu and KPIT India, for the honor and a very warm introduction. Very humble and happy to be here sharing this platform
Thank
with all.
you.
Thank you. So the journey started 3 years ago, and especially today is 27th June, which is a special day because my late husband Nitesh, it would have been his 30th birthday today. So
Oh my,
I
okay.
got to spend only one birthday with him, which was in 2017, and that was his last birthday he could celebrate. That's how our journey started. So when we were studying at IIM Calcutta, me, Kishan, and Nitesh, we all three were friends at that time there. And Nitesh was diagnosed with colon cancer, third stage. When I saw a young man of 25 years of age having colon cancer, that too very aggressive form of cancer, I was helping him, doing caregiving for him. And gradually we fell in love, and his treatment ended. We graduated, and at the same time, his cancer relapsed with the last stage and no hope of recovery. So we have been told that he has only 6 months to live, or even less than that. So we tried for many options. There has to be something in this world which can treat him, cure him, heal him. And we did not know the world of cancer and what all things needs to be done in that space. So we got married and went to US for advanced treatment, clinical trials, and advanced drugs. Because I could connect with many patients there who were living on fourth stage for 12 years, 10 years, and some of them survived fourth stage as well. So that gave us a hope, and with that hope, we went there. He was in clinical trials on and off, and then some other drugs. He was doing well in the beginning, but then his condition all of a sudden deteriorated, and unfortunately, he passed away in March 2018. And that is so when he passed away, and when I look back and trying to understand the purpose of what happened, why it happened, how it happened, and what else can we do now in this space. So I remember that, you know, when like we both were from IIM Calcutta and we had access to the best resources and many other things, but still we could not save him. Still, there were many things which we did not know in the beginning, and by the time we got to know, it was too late for him to try those things and, you know, get saved. So when I remember when, you know, the day he went to ICU, and he did not come back from that. That day I resigned from my job because I could see that no matter what's going to happen tomorrow, I cannot go back to the old world I was in, because I have seen a lot of things in this last 1.5 years, and I think I could see that there are many more things which needs to be done in this field, so that tomorrow no other Dimple and Nitesh go through the same thing we went through. So he passed away, and then I stayed back in US for some more time, met amazing scientists who are doing this wonderful work of healing, wonderful work of integrative oncology from last 50 years in US. So they became mentors, learned from them, came back to India, and then wanting to do something in the field of cancer. And from our mentor, Dr. Michael Lerner, I got the direction what can be done. So I moved to Ahmedabad, Gandhi Ashram, and I would say that was my isolation incubation phase, where I was at Sabarmati Ashram. That Gandhi Ashram family supported me a lot in terms of, you know, when I was in the learning phase and trying to understand what are the challenges a cancer patient goes in India and what can we do. So that's where the inception of Love Heals Cancer started, which with the core purpose of helping and healing cancer patients, and also finding a balance between mainstream treatment, which is the radiation, surgery, chemo, etc., and the complementary treatment, which is the nutrition, fitness, emotional, mental wellness, end of life conversations, spiritual wellness, and all. So how can we really find the balance between these two therapies together and improve quality of life and extending life for cancer patients? So when I was working on Love Heals Cancer, was beautiful learning experience to begin with. And the same time, Kishan was doing volunteering with Love Heals Cancer, and I would request Kishan to introduce his part of the story.
So when Dimple started Love Heals Cancer, So I started volunteering at Love Heals Cancer since the inception. And, cancer, in fact, any disease, if you look at it from the outside, it's just a word. But when you enter the world, it's a lot more than a word, because you get to see what impact it causes, and what are the feelings and emotions that people go through, and especially the entire journey. And so when I started volunteering for Love Heals Cancer, looking at Nitesh's journey and looking at the journey of so many people with cancer, I immediately realized that there was something missing, a gap in today's healthcare system. Maybe, be it on the emotional front, where there needs to be a lot of focus on the emotional aspect of well-being, or be it on the complementary aspect, where apart from emotion, there is also nutrition which is involved, or maybe fitness which is involved. And there are many things that can be done to improve the overall well-being while being with cancer. So while I was volunteering at Love Heals Cancer, there were many of these small issues that we identified, and we wanted to make something which is very sustainable, and at the same time help as many people as possible. So I was volunteering only over the weekends in the beginning, and I used to tell Dimple that it's okay every weekend, if everybody comes along and helps a bit, we can go miles together and help many people. But then I realized it's such a big problem that even if many people join hands, only then we'll be able to cover a little bit of it. And that's when I decided to enter into it full time, to make it a very self-sustainable, and I would say to increase the impact and scale it up. Because with Love Heals Cancer, we were mostly able to help patients that were mostly below poverty line. We would be involved in, be it distribution, be it emotional well-being, or such kind of aspects. But then there are so many things involved with cancer that we wanted to cover a bit more, and also help other people, because cancer doesn't see the strata of the person, or what all things need are required by the person. So that's when we decided to open another venture, so that we can cater to a bigger mass and help as many people as possible while maintaining it in a very self-sustainable manner. And that's when we founded Zen Oncoro.io 6 months ago. So the intention is the same, to help cancer patients, help increase awareness, help so that do things that cancer doesn't even come in the first place. Uh,
Correct.
which is the best thing that also Keep It focuses on awareness,
Correct.
prevention, and early
Yeah.
detection.
Yeah.
But if it happens, how can we treat it? How can we approach it? So those are the things that both these organizations together, like brother and sister, they work on it. And this is my part
Wonderful.
of the journey.
Wonderful. So, like you were saying, that it's not something that you can just, a few people can do and spend a little bit of time and actually make an impact. You've got to give it time, and you've got to create something that's sustainable. And the only way, actually, it's really important, and it's a wonderful thing you're doing. And the only way that we are going to be able to spread this information and make more people aware, so that they can use and be able to leverage what you are doing, is by spreading the word. So I think what we've really got to do is build a network that's going to be able to talk about this, because this is really, it's really necessary stuff in the field of cancer. So you've watched it from the US, Dimple, and you have come here. Are you finding acceptance of CAM as a concept? Are you having to struggle with getting people to look at complementary and alternative healing patterns? How is the awareness going for you?
And it's a very important question, Ritu. Thank you for asking that. Because when I began my journey, I thought that I would face a lot of challenges in this. But when I started meeting doctors and started visiting hospitals, so starting 6 to 8 months of this journey was only exploring and experiencing how does this work here. So fortunately, I got positive response from, I would say, close to 100% of the people, be it
Wow.
patients, be it doctors. And some of the words which I received from doctors are, had it been my family member who is going through the cancer, or even if I go through the cancer, I would not give my life in the hands of one doctor. I myself will explore what all options do I have. They say that doctor patient ratio is not really good in India. We want to help people, we really want to help them, but we have limitations because of the number
Yeah,
of patients. So we are not
correct.
able to spend that much of time. So there are more Lovells Cancer and more Zen Onco needs to come together to help those patients so that we can do our part and then you can do your part, and together we can create that ecosystem where everybody is able to help each other, be it NGO or doctor or corporate or healer or patient or caregiver or survivor. So I would say most of the doctors said that it is need of the hour. So thank you for bringing this out. So we got really good inputs
Very
from,
nice. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah, be it
For
Ahmedabad.
mainstream doctors to be supporting this is really good because you don't hear doctors talking about it. So
Yeah.
even if they are willing to support it, it's really fantastic. So you were saying, Kishan, that when you all started, you were working with the underprivileged and you were helping them and all. But don't you think something like CAM is needed across the strata of society? Everybody needs it. Even everybody who has cancer is suffering. Everybody. Don't you think it's equally needed by other people? Are you supporting them as well?
Yes, yes, totally. In fact, everybody needs it. Everybody going through cancer or going through any disease, I would say. Maybe even if somebody is not going through any disease, because
Even then,
CAM, yeah, even then they need, because CAM is based on such simple basics of lifestyle, I would say, in very simple words, that anybody can implement it in their daily lives. And I think the best is prevention is better than cure. So
correct,
you
correct.
have a healthy lifestyle, you can actually prevent things. So when
So,
we started bringing in the integrative oncology approaches to India, we were particularly limited to below poverty line patients, like you mentioned in the
mm,
beginning, because we had our own limitation in terms of manpower, in terms of resources, in terms of people we can cater to, and also the fact that we had to train people to actually implement those integrative oncology techniques. So for example,
absolutely,
while there is a nutritionist today, we had to train them in oncology specifically
correct,
so
correct.
that they can give anti-cancer diet and nutraceuticals to people. So that was a big hurdle, and we were only catering to below poverty line patients. But 6 months ago, like you said, we realized that cancer doesn't see that whether somebody is below poverty line or above poverty line. It just happens to anybody and anybody possible. And the access to such integrative oncology is so limited that we decided to give everything to it and make a very a kind of a model that everybody has access to it. It is accessible, it is self-sustainable at the same time. Rich, poor, anybody can access it. So
Mm,
that's how we are trying to make it a very globally acceptable model where people have easy
wonderful,
access to it.
wonderful. Is that where Zeopar comes in? Is that how Zeopar is, or is it something? So just to what you were saying just now, Capit came about because I lost my mother to lung cancer. And I know that it was such a roller coaster. We had no time to look around. We didn't even come across CAM. We didn't look at CAM. We just kept doing those chemos every 21 days. And you just go into that cycle. You don't have any time to stop and think. So these are things that should be in people's awareness even before, God forbid, you actually have to deal with cancer. This should be so widespread, the information, that people know that they should be able to, use one of, they should have that option when, as and when they need it. So we should start talking about it. So tell me then, what is Zeopar? And you all have just launched it. I remember reading something at Times of India, right? There was an article on Zeopar. What is that about, and how does that fit in with the area that you all are in?
So it's very much related to what you just said, make these integrative oncology approaches accessible to everyone. Because like Dimple mentioned that the oncologist to patient ratio is very poor today in India. But
Very
if
poor.
you look at the finer details, the ratio of integrative oncologist to patient is even poorer. So while you have
Yes.
thousands of rather lakhs of nutritionists out there are very few who focus on oncology specifically. And if we are to make available these experts who are in CAM as well as oncology available to everybody, it's a difficult task because the scarcity is so much. So we had this plan of launching, creating something like Zyopar since the last, I would say, 2 years. But then because it's such a Herculean task to bring everything together. So if you look at Zyopar report, it has 6 sections and each section is very detailed. You have medical treatment, So basically, what could be your medical treatment? What could be the line of chemotherapy which you could get, including that? What kind of surgery you could get, etc., etc., which is based on all standard protocols, ASCO, ESMO, NCCN. That itself is a Herculean task. Combining it with all the scam approaches, which is nutrition, psychology, fitness, your surroundings, and community support, that was a big task in itself. And
Okay.
while we've been working on it over the last 2 years, I would say, the need became even much more during COVID because
Ah, now of course. Hmm.
because there were many patients who were not able to go out of the home to get a normal OPD consultation as well.
Correct. Correct.
And we have a call center where patients can call us and we guide them that you could maybe do this or do that, meet this oncologist, or or you should also focus on XYZ things, maybe things that they're missing from their life right now, or any guidance they want in cancer, basically. And the number of calls shot up dramatically. And we thought that this is high time now. So while we thought that we will take maybe one more year,
Hmm.
we got together all our resources, be it technology people on focusing on data. We had many oncologists who supported this tool. So touchwood, when we went out on the street, we were like, we don't know whether an oncologist will support it or not. And their time
Hmm.
is very precious. But when we told them about this tool, about the idea, they supported it big time. So
Wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
That's how things happen actually. If something genuine is going to happen, it happens in the field on the job. It doesn't happen in a room planning and, sitting and waiting for it to happen. That's really how it does. So, this is an app that is free to download. Is it available on Google Play? Is it, how does this thing work?
So I would say it's a application in terms of it has its own mind, it has its own brain. What it does is that if you are a cancer patient, you simply log on to the website and you just give your details as to cancer type, the cancer stage, if you what is your physical condition, whether you can do self-care activities or not, what is the prior treatment that you have taken, and if you're facing any symptoms or any other medical condition. Symptoms could be like pain, fatigue, nausea, which is very common when you're undergoing the cancer treatment. And other conditions could be like diabetes or thyroid. So once you give all these inputs, it goes onto our server, the artificial intelligence behind it processes it, and then comes out with the most likely applicable treatment protocol, which is based on all scientific evidence, globally acceptable protocols, and all those credible things. And it gives a report to the patient. So it's a pretty detailed, I would say 20, sometimes 22 pages, depending on the inputs that goes in. It could be a report as long as 25 pages, which gives good detail on each of these points. And it's free to download, completely free of cost. And the best thing is that you get the output very immediately. So it has a turnaround time, average turnaround time of 6 minutes, depending on the
Oh,
load. Yeah.
mm.
So if there are many people, you might take 6 to 7 minutes. If there are less people using the application, you might get it on the spot. So it really helps us to reach out to many more people. So after launching the app, Touchwood, we got a very good response. We were able to help so many more people because the questions are
Yeah,
pretty
that's what is the satisfaction of doing something like that. So can I ask you to just type out that link on the chat, and Nimit will share it on all the media where this is live. So everybody watching will get the link right now. Please keep it handy. Please share it with anybody you know, cancer patients, anybody, any organization that may be working with cancer patients. Please make it Nimit, could you share this link with everybody on our various pages? Thank you so much. So what if a person gets a report from Zeopar? How valid is that report if they had to go to a doctor and say, this is the report I've gotten, this is the treatment that has been recommended? What would a doctor do? You know how usually a doctor would want you to just take their treatment. How valid is that report for somebody who's,
So
how can they use it best?
So we did a survey actually after launching the tool, and we waited for 15-20 days. Then we started calling people who had taken the report. The feedback we received was actually very positive. So I would
Oh,
say,
that's
yeah,
nice.
I would say 90% people had followed the same treatment protocol that their doctor had suggested to them. 10% there was a variance where the patient actually went to the doctor and said that, doctor, this report says that if you have these genetic mutations, this could be a possible treatment. But I
Hmm.
am not doing this. What would you say? And then the doctor, and they actually had a change in treatment. So
Really, that
yeah,
is
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
That is a testimony that, I mean, a lot of people would want to know, because I know, I mean, what the doctor knows is something that the doctor knows. He's done all the years of training to be the doctor. But patients need to be in control. They need to own their journey. So for them to know exactly where they are and what they can do, and if they can have a conversation with their doctor and make suggestions and get feedback, it makes you feel more positive about what you're going through. So if something like that has actually happened, that's a real positive for uh, patients to be
And,
looking at.
and I would say the best thing is that one, you get the treatment protocol, which you can get it ratified with the doctor. But in addition to that, you get all the integrative oncology things, which is nutrition,
Correct.
physiology, etc. And it actually equips with the right questions to ask the doctor. So there were many patients who started asking doctors the right questions. That, doctor, in this surgery, what are the side
Yeah.
effects? What could happen? What are the things that I should take care of? So it gives a lot of happiness when we
It
see the
does. It does. It also takes away fear. That whole immediate
Exactly.
fear
Yeah.
that you have with cancer, that it takes away if you know what you are asking, what the side effects are all about. That is definitely true. So this is for cancer people. It's not preventive in any way. Zeopar is for a cancer patient to come on and put up their details, right?
Yes,
It's not. It's not preventive care. It's actually for them.
not
So CAM is a preventive tool as well, right? Alternative medicines and things like that. It is also preventive. And along with cancer patients, there's a lot that the caregiver also needs. I mean, the caregiver also needs to know what are going to be the side effects, how to deal with the side effects, what to do about nutrition. Usually the caregiver needs to know a lot more. In fact, we just had somebody who had called us. I mean, we of course do navigation for cancer patients, but she had called because her father had cancer and she was also stuck in the house and she was with him and she didn't know what to do. And she was actually having a breakdown because she just couldn't handle the whole stress in these days. So you all have a complete area for emotional, dealing with the emotional strain of cancer, right? For cancer patients and uh, caregivers. That is also an area that Love Heals Cancer is dealing with. Can you tell us a little more about that as well?
Yeah. So as an ex caregiver, I can maybe share my experiences as well.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. I mean, when somebody gets diagnosed in the family, you enter into a new world of cancer. Nobody has this prior training in terms of what to do, how to navigate with this entire phase of cancer. Uh, Emotionally, you break down. It's a big shock to the entire family. You
Correct.
don't have those 10, 20, 30, 40 lakhs of financials ready to spend on cancer treatment. Most of them hear the word oncology first time in their life. When I heard oncology, I did not know what does this mean until I googled and got to know it's cancer for Nitesh. I did not even know what does third stage mean and which one is the last stage. When
Absolutely.
it was metastasis, I did not know what is metastasis. And when I googled, I found out it's the spread of the cancer in the body and all. So it comes as a big shock, and then nobody knows how to deal with this. And when I was the caregiver, the experiences which I had, and now I think if I when I look back and will I repeat a few of things which I did, I think no. For example, self-care is very much important. At
Very
times I
important.
had breakdowns. At times I was frustrated, irritated because of less support maybe, or because of the irritation from the patient as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
patient
The demands that
wants
you have, yeah.
there
Correct.
are so many changes happens within the family as well. I took sabbatical from the work so that I can focus on this treatment better. But then fourth stage came as a big shock. With 6 months of life, I mean, the man you love, your family member is going to die, and living with that feeling is, I don't
It's
know
terrible. Yeah.
how to do that. So initially this was a denial that no, it cannot happen. Then came the acceptance that yes, it has happened. And then now, rather than accepting the fact that he's like doctors are saying that he's going to die, there are many more things which I can do right now which can probably save him, because hope is a powerful thing. And I had that until the last moment, until the last breath he took. That in ICU also, I had the hope that no, he will survive. Maybe some miracle, maybe something will happen, but I am not going to accept that he is going to die after 6 months or 3 months or 1 month. So while we were getting constant reminders from doctors that now he has 3 months, now he has this.
Oh
So
my.
it's yeah, and it's very important for caregivers that you take support from other people. Many caregivers want to be the superhero, superwoman, superman, that I will do everything, but then in that I will do everything, you tend to miss out on few things, and then you tend to, because we are humans, we have our own
Yeah.
limitations, and then it's okay to ask for support. And there are many wonderful people out there who are ready to help, who are just a phone call away, and they are just waiting for your call, that Dimple, call me, I will be there for you. So
Mm.
you just need to speak it out. So many caregivers don't take the help, so it's totally okay. And even if you take some out for yourself, you feel that guilt that, oh my God, how can I sleep for 1 extra hour? How can I just eat, which is my favorite food, and something like that. So it is not a crime while it is needed when you are taking care of somebody. So when we talk to caregivers, we explain them a few things, such as in terms of treatment guidance, that okay, for this particular cancer, for your loved one who has cancer, these are the things which probably might happen, and these are the questions which you can ask a doctor. Even the Zyopar gives you a very detailed report, also explains you what type of tests to do, why to do, so that they are at least aware, they are empowered with their own treatment, they are educated, and they can take more decision about their own health, and they don't have to depend on anybody else, that okay, what is the next surprise, what's going to happen now. So that anxiety and that panic mode is not there. Also, we when unfortunately, when somebody is at end of life stage, caregiver needs to be prepared for this, and this is a, I would say, a tough call for us as well, when they ask questions such as, mom is screaming day in, day night, I can't see her like this, and
Mm.
I wish, and she also wishes that she dies, and then
Yeah,
what should we do? So, end of life conversations are very important. At times, we put our patient, our loved one, in such a critical situation, or such a situation when they are not able to take decision, and we as a caregiver taking decision on
can't.
their behalf,
Mm.
which they might not like.
Correct.
So it's important that we have those discussions beforehand, and talk openly about it, because everybody knows what is happening. So there is a silent elephant in the room, and then nobody's talking about it. So it's completely okay to talk about it, and both will feel good about it, that okay, we are here for each other on the same page. And then we know that situation is not good maybe, but there is always a hope. So we that's the conversation which we have with patients as well as caregivers, separate conversations, because both are in a different zone. A
Different
caregiver
zone.
wants to do everything for the patient, like literally everything, even if the patient doesn't like that, they want to do it because they are worried, they are scared. While a patient tells us a different thing, that I am done with this now, or I don't want to have this, I don't want any more chemotherapy, but my family member don't understand
No,
this.
they don't. Yeah.
So different
Difficult choice to make for anybody.
right, so we
I
help
can
them.
understand. So, do you prescribe palliative care? I mean, do you all talk about palliative care also with the patients, or not palliative? Is that part of your end of life conversations and things like that?
Yeah, we do. So when somebody comes to us, so palliative care people ask, even when they are in initial stage of cancer or maybe at last stage of cancer, because palliative care is nothing but improving quality of life, which you need at
Correct.
all stages of the journey. So when somebody comes to us in the beginning phase, when they are taking the treatment and they ask for palliative care, so they want to improve their quality of life, manage their side effects and symptoms of chemotherapy. So we have CAM approaches for that, which is the complementary alternative medicines. So CAM helps you in, maybe relieving you from the nausea of chemotherapy, relieving you from the anxiety, or managing your other side effects and symptoms you are going through. When somebody comes at who is at end of life care, who probably maybe has treatment is all over, and doctor said that nothing can be done and you can go home now. So for them, when they come to us, so we primary focus is to keep the patient in the comfort zone. That is the only primary motive we have. So for that, they need painkillers. Sometimes they need morphine or fentanyl patch or the nursing assistance. So we connect them to the right people who can help them at that phase. Sometimes the needs are such as patient is not eating anything. So then again, we have onco-nutritionist for that. Sometimes the need our patient wants to die. Can you know, connect us with some healer who can at least relieve her from the pain, and then we do that as well. So be it the medical need or the non-medical need, these kind of supports we
Wonderful.
provide. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is what you have, the healing circles that you all work with. Can you help us understand what that is? There may be a lot of viewers who would find that helpful for them. What
Yes.
is the healing circle?
So Healing Circle is an event that we organize every Sunday. So before COVID, we used to have it in a physical location that people would come from different parts of the city, and they would come together, sit in a circle, share their emotions and thoughts, and just speak their heart out. And after COVID, we have started doing it on a virtual screen. So now it's on a Zoom call where again people come in. The simple objective
Can
is,
I just ask 1 minute? People is who? Are they caregivers? Are they cancer patients? Whom does healing circle cater to?
so they can be anybody. So if you
Anybody.
look at, yeah, but related to cancer is what most people come. So these are either cancer caregivers or ex-caregivers or they're survivors or even cancer patients or maybe healers, sometimes even doctors. So it's
Okay.
open for all. Anybody can join. But the basic motto is to one, allow everybody to share their thoughts and emotions. Two, allow that information sharing where we also have a guest speaker who shares her or his own knowledge or own journey. So for example, last time we had Miss Neelam Kumar who had shared her own journey as a cancer patient. She's a best-selling author. Next week we have Nadia, who is again an author, and she shares her journey from the perspective of a caregiver. So the circle essentially benefits all people connected to cancer. And it's a platform where people can share their own perspectives. And we treat it as a very sacred space where we respect each other's emotions, thoughts, views, perspectives. And the idea is to build a community. So, in fact, our focus is a lot on building community today because if you look at cancer treatment, you can go to a hospital, you can get treated. If you look at integrative oncology, there are very few players, but still those are available. But if you look at community and the love and support, the sense of being together with like-minded people is missing a lot, is what we see. Where good NGOs like KPET come in, we are also trying to do our best here. And so healing circles is one of those things that we're doing to make a community of cancer patients, caregivers, people connected with cancer. And this is one of the
Very
step to
important.
bring community, the community approach here.
That's really important. You know, with all the artificial intelligence, with all the digitalization, we could do whatever we want. That human connect that you need at a time like this, nothing can substitute that. That's something you need. This cross learning that you have from somebody else who's been through an experience like yours, and if you can share and you can have someone tell you it's perfectly okay, this happens, this is how it is, it will go. It's so much of a help for anybody, you know, in any sphere, and especially in cancer, because cancer scares you even if nothing has really happened. Just the word is enough to get people to be a little wary of, you know, having it. So do you find people are willing to talk and share about cancer? Because when we go into the field, a lot of people don't want to talk about cancer. It's taboo. You know, the whole Indian concept ki buri cheez ki baat karoge to wo ho hi jayegi. So they don't even want to talk about things like cancer or don't want to come and hear you talk about it. So we do have that. We do a whole awareness drive and we, you know, start from the sarpanch and then get to the actual basti people. But we do get them to come and listen to us. It is though, the taboo is a big hurdle. How is it for you all? I know you all don't do the healing circles in the basti level, but how is it otherwise are people willing to share?
Yeah, I will talk about that, but we have a question from someone. According to you, what more strategies a caregiver should follow in order to keep themselves uplifted when dealing with cancer patients' mood shifts? So, a few things which helped me or which I learned after my caregiving experiences. We need to first understand and put ourselves in patient's shoes, that what the patient is going through. There are, and you should also educate yourself with the side effects of the cancer treatments, so that you can understand your person better. That yes, irritation is going to happen, and I'm going to accept it. Yes, the person might not like sound of cell phone or the lights after evening hours or something like that, so I'm going to accept that because it's a phase which the person is going through, and I will be there to support him. There are few things which will help you, such as when you are asking patient to do meditation, you are imposing this on him, you should also do with the patient. When you are asking patient to do pranayam, breathing exercise, walk, or eat this juice, you should also eat the same and do the same. Two things: one is, patient will not feel like he or she is a patient. They will feel like, okay, I'm following a healthy lifestyle, my entire family is following that. Second thing, you will feel, you will understand what he or she is going through, and then you are both on the same page and feeling and thinking in the same way. So I generally, when caregiver complains, that, and most of the complaint comes from the caregivers, that patient is not doing this and that, and then I say, okay, did you try to do this? So when you do this, they will automatically start doing it, because they will also see the sacrifice you are doing. You are eating the same thing, maybe the bland and not tasty food, or maybe some wheat grass juice which is not good in taste, etc. So these are the things which will help you, and which will make your bond stronger with the patient, and make relation also stronger. So some of the things like mindfulness, taking time out for yourself. When you do that, you do self-care, you will not feel that 24/7 you have to do caregiving, and that is like burning you out. And like you said, how to uplift mood. So taking care of yourself and doing things such as uh, the other things I talked about, which is wellness, mindfulness, exercise, walking together, reading together. So that will make your bond stronger and uplift your mood as well. So thank you. Yeah.
There are a couple of other questions. Do you want to take the questions now? Because there's one on Zeopart. That is the first question. How is Zeopart different from other tools which exist and were designed for cancer-related information?
So I would say there are broadly four differences if I were to categorize it. One is the spectrum of detail that Zeopart gives. So when we were designing this tool, we actually looked at what all things are available out there. If we can suggest cancer patients some existing tool that they can get benefit from, because creating something new is involves a lot of time, efforts, energies, and all. But then there were these four things that we saw were missing. So, and Zyopar tries to bridge the gap and complete these four things, and this is why the number comes. So the first is the spectrum of detail. So most of these tools are either related to cancer prevention, where you enter any symptom that you have, and they maybe tell you what kind of things you can do to prevent cancer from happening. Or these could be to check the likelihood of having cancer. The question are, do you have anybody with cancer in your family, etc.
Yeah, the risk factors.
Right. The approach that we take is very different here, where a person already has cancer, and now what all things he can do. So there are some tools that give only guidance on medical treatment, that too very limited, that you should go to a surgical oncologist, get a surgery done, or you should go for chemotherapy. So we, along with the medical treatment, we give information on the other treatment methodologies that you can do, be it on nutrition, be it nutraceuticals, be it other supplements, be it fitness, be it how to manage your stress, how to manage nausea, how to manage anxiety, etc. So the spectrum it covers is a lot more. And this is why the report is also 20-25 pages long, which is a pretty detailed version of what you can expect. Second is the, like I said, the level of detailing. So instead of saying very simple sentences that you can get a surgery done, which is very easy to read, easy to understand, we also explain what kind of surgery is required. Because for example, say if somebody has colon cancer, and one of the other tools says that you need to get a surgery done, the next question is what kind of surgery, and which is where we provide a lot of information on that. So I remember one of the patient had actually called us just to thank us that the report helped her, because she was advised a surgery of total mastectomy, where her breast would be completely removed. But our report gave her other options and other treatment methodologies in detail. And if you go for surgery, you need to get this done. If you go for a prior chemotherapy, or a chemotherapy plus radiation before the surgery, the level of tumor might actually shrink so that lesser part would be removed during surgery. So all these things equips people to ask the right questions to the doctor. And the level of detail was missing what we saw in most other tools. There is no tool that gives you so much of information that you can actually start asking the doctor that, doctor, why this, why not that, or what else can we do?
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing missing in most other tools. Um, Third is that it is based on all protocols and scientific research, scientific evidence. So, in fact, when we were on this journey to guide other cancer patients before Zyopar, we used to get a lot of questions like, should I have milk? Should I have flour? Should I have gluten? And there is a lot of research which has been done already on these topics. And when we reply to anybody, we look at those research and then only confirm it. So this report is totally based on research and protocols. There are a few best practices also which are mentioned, and those have been categorized separately. You know, this is a best practice that you should do. And so it's not like something that you read and simply write it in the report. It's all based on facts, research.
And is it contextualized for India, or
Yes,
is it
contextualized for India? So this is another big problem which you have correctly identified. So because 2 years ago, when we were mostly importing things from the US to India, a lot of it was based on fruits made for the US countries. So which you could not procure here. Or, you know, somebody would say that have macadamia nuts. But if you look at it, it's 500 rupees small packet. So
not possible?
not possible.
But we find that in a lot of research. We find it's all Europe or US based, and then we have to look for alternatives to what they have suggested. It is quite a struggle.
A lot.
That's wonderful that you have already done that for us. It's like reinventing the wheel for no reason at all, right? Right.
Making it Indianized. I think the last difference is because it's free of cost. So when we look at other tools, you know, you had to pay to look at the report. So you give the details and then they say now pay, enter credit card details. So we made it completely free of cost. Anybody can use it. In fact, we have had people, very kind people, touchwood, who have used the Zyopar tool to generate reports for people in memorial homes, in dharamshalas who cannot afford, who really don't have the understanding of how
can't fill it up.
And then they have explained it to them in the regional language.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think these are the major pointers that, first of all, had the emergence of such tool, and how Zyopar is different from other tools.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was a good.
There are two more questions.
Yeah. What difference has been created with the use of an integrated oncology approach? According to you, why should one consider taking this approach?
Yeah, very well asked question, because even in the beginning of my journey as a caregiver, I did not know the oncology or what difference it can create unless I came in contact with the few patients from the US who were doing this approach, and then were living with even last stage colon cancer for 10 years, 12 years, like that. So when I went there, and then when I got to know about them in detail and what all things they have been following, I got myself, a part of some of the groups in the US on Facebook groups and other things. And then all of discussions were around integrative oncology and the CAM treatment. And that's where I explored this in detail and found out that, wow, this is a whole new area which we never explored before. In India, what we see when somebody gets diagnosed, you receive a lots of WhatsApp forward messages. Do this, take this, drink this,
too much.
And at one point, and even in the beginning, for me it was the same. And one day Nitesh will tell me, "Ab kaun si auntie ne aapko kya bataya hai?" So I was like, okay, he was kaun se uncle se message aaya. So because of your WhatsApp messages, I have to eat and drink this. So frustrated. And then it was, but I was also scared that I would impose everything on him. But later, when I met this amazing scientist, to name a few, Dr. Keith Block, Dr. Michael Lerner, and some more who are doing this work already from the last 50 years. And the difference in approach is, and I will read the definition of integrative oncology from the Society of Integrative Oncology from the US. Integrative oncology is a patient-centered, evidence-informed field of cancer care that utilizes mind and body practices, natural products, and lifestyle modifications from different traditions alongside conventional cancer treatment. It aims to optimize health, quality of life, and clinical outcomes across the cancer care and to empower patients to prevent cancer, become active participants before, during, and beyond cancer treatment. So integrative oncology is how can you integrate complementary and alternative therapies with your mainstream treatment, because we have to take mainstream and then there are side effects which we have to face. What it does, it improves your quality of life. You get relieved from your symptoms of your treatment. You make your body stronger, you make your immunity stronger so that body fight itself with the disease, with the side effects you are facing. What we have seen, the survival outcome, patients who have taken integrative oncology, even the science evidence says that people who took this approach, they had 33% improvement in their quality of life and their survival extension. So and and we all know that number of cases, cancer cases in US is much more than what it is in India. But if you see the survival rate and expectancy, it is more in US than in India. So people get cancer more in US, but they also survive more, while in India it's the reverse. Why? Because of the quality of life and the other things they do. So to answer this question, why should one consider this approach? Because first of all, it's never ever going to harm you. Nobody gives guarantee in cancer, not even medical treatment, not even alternative or complementary treatment. If somebody is giving you 100% guarantee, that you really need to check the facts first. So, but it will definitely help you in improving your quality of life, extending your life, and this is what we want, that at least आज का दिन हमारा अच्छा निकल जाए. When you have somebody who has cancer, all your level of hope changes. Initially आपका होप रहता है कि कैंसर फ्री हो जाए, धीरे धीरे आपको पता चलता है कि वेयर वी आर हेडिंग टू, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग नाउ. इट वाज थर्ड स्टेज, नाउ इट इज फोर्थ स्टेज. आप डॉक्टर आपको बोलते हैं 2 से 5 साल का टाइम है, देन योर होप बिकम एटलीस्ट ये स्कैन अच्छा आ जाए, एटलीस्ट ये दवाई काम कर जाए. और जब आप एंड ऑफ लाइफ पे पहुंचते हैं तो आपकी होप ये रहती है कि आज का दिन अच्छा निकल जाए, बस सुबह पेशेंट उठ जाए, बस अभी वॉमिटिंग नहीं हो, बस अभी पेन नहीं हो. So what it gives you, it improves your that quality of life, and this is what we want at the end. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's wonderful. There is one more question here which says, I also want to know if there are support groups in India for families of cancer patients. That's caregivers.
Yeah, wonderful question. And yes, there are support groups. There are some hospitals also have their support groups. Though in some hospitals we have seen that they say they have support groups but not really active. So that is the whole purpose of we starting healing circles every Sunday. And when we talk to patients and we say that whatever we are helping them with, be it the medical treatment, be it the scans and the lab support, be it the nutrition or other things, but when we said that we have these groups and then you can join this group, yes मैम मुझे ये ग्रुप में ज्वाइन कर लो प्लीज, बिकॉज मुझे यही चाहिए, मैं दूसरों से बात करना चाहता हूँ, मुझे समझना है कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. एंड दैट्स वेयर आई फेल्ट दैट जब मैं उस जर्नी से निकल रही थी, व्हेन आई वाज इन इंडिया, आई डिड नॉट know about the support groups in India because there are not many, and maybe if there are, but then that activeness is not there. But on the contrary, and मैं US India की US की तारीफ नहीं कर रही हूँ, there are all the countries have their own positives and negatives, but in US I saw that there are many online support groups and they are very active. You say ask something and you will get tons of answers and all. So even when Nitesh would have, sometimes his machine will stop working and I will just message in the group and I'll get immediate responses that it's okay, it happens, it happened with us also. So I was like, wow, this is like my other hospital, virtual hospital. When doctor is not there, these people are there. So one of the reason of starting Healing Circle is to get those queries answered. And then in Healing Circle, when people introduce themselves, other people get to know who are we talking to, and then offline they connect with each other. Also very soon, and there's an maybe then we can talking about community, so we can do the announcement here. We are soon coming up with the community for cancer patients. In a layman language, I would say it's a Facebook for cancer patients only. So it
wonderful.
It will be a part of our website very soon, where caregivers, survivors, NGOs, hospitals, doctors, anybody and everybody who is working in the field of cancer will be a part of it. So all
Wonderful.
discussions, maybe city-wise, maybe Kipit says that I want to have our own group there where all the conversations can happen together. We learn from each other because it's a learning.
Exactly.
Cancer is nothing but a learning experience. So we are also launching that community soon, maybe in another 2 weeks or like that. And till then, we have so many WhatsApp and Facebook groups and healing circles every Sunday. So I will also, just share the healing circle link form. So anybody who wants to be a part of it can fill the form, and then we will. You will get an email for every Sunday healing circles. And thank you, Kipit, for being a part of it.
No, thank you for inviting us. We wouldn't have known about it if you hadn't asked us to be a part of it. Thank you so much. And I hope that answers the question for the viewer also who wanted to know about the cancer support groups. So when you give us the link to the form, Nimit will share it with the pages that we are on, and the person who wants to know can fill it. And now that it's virtual, of course, a lot more people can join, right? From across places. When it is offline, it's limited to physical availability, but now online, I'm sure you can support a lot more people. So we should, I mean, the minute this goes out and people get the link and all, there may be a lot more people interested in learning and being a part of that group. It is necessary, like you said. So that's wonderful. If there are any other questions, Nimit, Madhu, any questions, let us know. Is there anything else you'd want to tell our viewers before we sign off? If there are questions, we'll hear about them.
I would like to share something to all the viewers who are there and those who are going to see this afterwards. In old times, it used to be a scary word, but not anymore. If you know what to do, there are many things available which one can do when you are diagnosed with cancer. It's all about taking right decisions at the right time. There are many centers, NGOs like KPID, like Love is Cancer, startups like Zenonco.io who are using technology to support and reach out to more and more patients so that we can improve your life and extend your life wherever possible. It's not a scary word. It's not a death sentence. It's just another disease. And also when we see cancer is now spreading very widely every day, every year, 25 lakhs plus people are getting diagnosed, 30 lakhs people living with this disease. Similar, when the numbers are growing, the survival chances are also growing. Why? Because of the new research happening, because of the new lifestyle changes coming into place, and there are many other things. So don't get scared of this disease. It is just cancer. Many people, I mean, I personally have met many fourth stage survivors, fourth stage conquerors who had no hope of recovery but still living, shining brightly because of the choices they made. So no more getting scared of disease. Just take the right decision at the right time. And many navigators like KPID, like us, we are there to guide you in your journey. That's my message to all of you.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Would you like to say something, Kishan?
Yeah, I think the last message I would like to say is that because every day we come across so many cases where cancer could have been avoided or prevented, detected early, and it all just needs that maybe if there is some change in your body, say the nipple size changes or any other change, some discharge of fluid, it's always good to ask someone.
Somebody, yes.
And don't feel shy. Approach organizations that are out there. KPID India is there. Love is there. There are so many organizations, be it in your city also, that you don't need to pick up the phone, give a call to anybody, and anybody will be more than happy to help you.
Right.
Maybe just guide you that it might be some problem, major issue. And because it's so easy to treat cancer in the early stages comparatively, but in the later stages, it becomes more and more difficult, time consuming, expensive, painful, everything. So it's always best to target cancer in the early stages itself and be cancer free ASAP. So if you have any doubts, just call any organization, anybody, any doctor, and get a checkup in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's something that we talk about a lot. Catch the first bus. Preventive care. Be aware. Go there early. On this very, very positive note, that is I'm sure that's something that gives a lot of hope and positivity to our viewers. So on this very, very positive note, I would like to thank both of you for taking the time and for helping us and for helping our viewers all see and know a little bit more about this integrated oncology approach. And we will reach out to you if we have any questions or anything once we start promoting the video, and we'll get answers from you. Thank you so much, Dimple, and thank you so much, Kishan, for taking the time and coming to be with us. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Ritu.
so
Thanks,
much.
Gifted and team for organizing this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.